The first time I ever watched The Notebook, just like everybody else, I was flabbergasted. The movie does such a great job of making you feel like love can supersede any obstacle and will always win, and that a love like that, soulmates, can exist. It's a gorgeous, gorgeous film, and it has strung a lot of heartstrings in the past, over a decade now that the film has been out. But looking back, being a little bit older and looking at the film a little bit more critically, Allie should have ended up with Lon. And here are my reasons why. So let's start right from the beginning when Allie and Noah meet for the first time. I think they're about 16 or 15 years old when they first meet. So the way that Allie and Noah end up going out is because Noah forcefully makes her go on a date with him. Allie doesn't know who this young man is. She has not a single clue. He has just kind of seen her at a carnival and thought, oh my goodness, this girl is gorgeous. And something in him just goes, I need to have this girl. And so after she politely declines his request to go on a date, he climbs up a Ferris wheel and threatens to let go if she doesn't say yes to going out with him. So now that we're in a time where we're having more conversations about consent, I think we can all agree that putting yourself in a dangerous position to get someone to say yes to something that you want from them does not have any consent involved whatsoever. She was forced to go on this date with him. She did not actually want to go. And it's great that later down the line she enjoyed the date, but she didn't exactly agree to it because she wanted to. And I think that kind of sets the tone as to the kind of partner that Noah is. And I do want to say that I completely understand and have not forgotten that Noah is a young man. He is still a teenager. He's very much learning and maturing. So this can kind of be excused with the fact that they're so young, but we're somehow made to believe that this very odd behavior and this very strange way to ask someone out on a date is supposed to make him stand out from the crowd and show how passionate he is about Allie. But I think it just goes to show the kind of person that Noah is, which is someone that does things on their own accord and doesn't really think about what another person or other people are going to feel because of their actions. He's kind of just moving off of what he desires and expecting that everything else will align according to that. And that is not exactly a great quality for anybody to have. But anyhow, after the two have actually gone on a date and are now together for all of the summer, have y'all ever realized that they don't actually have much in common? Like, we don't actually get to see a moment where they're sharing something that they can both relate on, or there is something that is binding them to one another. It just looks like two people who are very attractive and just have a lot of passion in their relationship, but that passion doesn't stem from something that is actually tangible, like having a familiar hobby or familiar life experiences. Noah makes fun of Allie on their first date for not being as carefree as he thought that she would be. She's telling him about how she's got all these things to do when she goes home, like studying and reading. And instead of being impressed by her discipline and the amount of things that she is doing at such a young age, he makes fun of her and makes it sound like the responsibilities that she has is actually restricting her from having a life of freedom and fulfillment. And I think that's very strange because what Allie is listing, the things that she has to do, it doesn't suggest that she's got this strict, rigorous life where there's no room for fun. It just shows that she has discipline, that she comes from a family that is educated and has a lot of wealth, and they want to be able to educate their daughter and set her up right for her future. But then he dismisses it as if it's something for her to feel bad about, something for her to be ashamed of, something that is actually withholding her. That always really bothered me when I look back at this film, because he made it seem like even though he has less than her in terms of material things and opportunities, he's actually living a more fulfilling life because he can do what he wants. And that doesn't really make much sense, nor does it actually guarantee a sustainable, healthy, long-term relationship. Noah comes from a lower class family, whereas Allie comes from an upper class family. So they already have two very different backgrounds there. Noah also isn't particularly interested in a higher education or leveling up in life. We never get any signs that he's trying to build a legacy or he's trying to build a life that's a little bit more than what he had growing up. He's a handyman, his hands can get to work and he can build things, and that's what he's good at. And that's great for him. That's wonderful. But if Noah knows that he can never give Allie the lifestyle that she's been living, then it is very selfish of him to make it sound like that is of her fault and something that she should be ashamed of if she doesn't choose to then live a lifestyle that is a lot below the means that she's used to. Again, we meet these two characters when they're very young. And one thing that a lot of us can agree on is that your first love and young love is often full of a lot of passion and a lot of infatuation. And that's not to say that these feelings aren't real or that they don't have any validity to them, but you're also so immature that you cannot make a sound decision for yourself. And we all know that love ultimately is not enough to keep a relationship secure. And so even though we meet Noah very young and he deserves some grace because of his age, we learn as the film progresses that this man is a certified bum. And why is that? Because after Noah meets her family for the first time and he realizes that her parents will never approve of him because he doesn't match their family's lifestyle, he breaks up with her. He doesn't mean it, but he never sees her again for years. And for the next few years, he tries so hard, but he never hears back. And in those few years, as he's getting older and older, he's gone to war, he's come back, he doesn't do anything else but sit and mope and pine for this woman. He literally starts to look shaggy, untaken care of, and then occasionally hooking up with Martha, a widow who lost her husband in the war. And Noah doesn't even show Martha any compassion or empathy for what she's going through. She lost the love of her life to war. He's gone. He's dead. He's never coming back. And he does not even offer her any kindness or comfort, even though he is using her body for his own benefit. It is clear that Martha is looking to fill in the void of losing her husband. And even though Noah also knows what it feels like to not live with the one that you love the most, he doesn't offer her any kindness or empathy. Instead, he reminds her all the time that he is missing somebody else, someone that she could never be. Like, how strange is that? And so, in short, Noah isn't exactly a decent man or a pleasant person to be around. Allie actually, even in her heartbreak, continues to move on in life. She goes on to get a higher education, and then during the war, she becomes a nurse. And that is where she meets Lon. Lon is in a full body cast when she meets him. He is in terrible condition. And so as she's tending to his wounds, he tells her that once he's healed, he's going to ask her out. And so what does he do? He heals, and then he finds her and asks her out, as a man should. Lon is arguably everything that Noah is, but better. He loves and adores Allie, and he is a good man with charm and good character. Not to mention, he's also very handsome. Him and Allie have a beautiful relationship. We never see any flaws or any issues between them. The only thing that the movie suggests is that the passion that existed between Allie and Noah doesn't exist between her and Lon. But we never actually see any flaws between them. We don't see them argue. We don't see them scream at each other, bark at each other. We see or saw Noah and Allie do so when we got those moments in their relationship back when they were children. Even in their adulthood, Allie and Noah are still screaming at each other. But again, in his little speech to her, he makes it sound like that is just how things are between them because they have such a passionate love. But with Lon, there is never any need for her to raise her voice or for him to raise his voice at her, because that is just not how he problem solves. He's a very calm, collected man who goes about things with grace and leadership. When he wants to marry her, he does what a decent man would do and asks her parents first, and then after getting their blessings, he finally asks Allie to marry him. And Allie's first thought is of Noah. You would think that after growing up and maturing a little bit more, Allie would be able to see that while her relationship with Noah was beautiful, it was not the relationship for her long term. Now, when Allie sees Noah's picture in the newspaper and this house built, the house that she described wanting when they were kids, she knows that she has to go and see him to kind of officially close that chapter. And so she tells Lon that she's got business to take care of. And what is the response that he gives her? Okay, babe, take your time and do what you gotta do. And I really want to point out this part of the film because Lon is not the kind of rich, powerful man that uses his position to isolate or restrict Allie from doing what she wants. She vaguely tells Lon what business it is that she needs to take care of. And I think it's very reasonable for a fiance to want to know where their fiance is going. Like, where are you going and what is this quote unquote business that you need to take care of? Why can't I know the details? But again, he tells her kindly to go and deal with her business, and he doesn't follow her, he doesn't track her down, he lets her do her thing and trusts that she will come back to him if that is what's meant to be. If he was controlling and had the intentions of isolating Allie all to himself, he would have demanded answers, and when he found out what she was really going to deal with, which is to see Noah, he wouldn't have allowed her to do that. But again, that is not the kind of person that Lon is. And so I wish this graceful masculine characteristic of Lon was a little more emphasized in the film, because the film paints Noah as someone who gave Allie freedom to do what she wants in a world where she is constantly confined and told what to do. But that couldn't be further from the truth. Lon offered her both things, both love and compassion, as well as security and stability. So to conclude, I think we can all agree that between Lon and Noah as two standing individuals, Lon always had better qualities as a human being, as an individual, as a man, and could provide for Allie a lifestyle that she deserved and give her everything that she wanted and more. Whereas Noah had a very questionable character at times, and the only thing that ever kept him going in life was his love for Allie, and that is just not a good enough thing to keep you ambitious in your life. You need more to offer someone as an individual than just to be existing purely to love them. And the film does a really good job of making it feel to the audience like his sole purpose being to love and take care of Allie is a beautiful thing and something that is worth celebrating, and the reason why their love story is so powerful and so special. And that is a very special thing in concept, but in real life, of course, having only love to provide to a woman is just not enough. You need to be full as a person than to just have love for someone and that be the only thing that is fueling your desire to live. And that's kind of what Noah gave. The only reason why he was on earth was to love Allie. But I think for Allie, the thing that she really wanted was to break out of the restrictions that come with being an upper class, wealthy white woman at that time. I think the desire that she had to marry Noah did not just come from the love that she had for him, but because being his wife meant that she could be whoever she wanted to be, and there wasn't any expectations of that. Whereas if she was to marry a wealthy upper class man like Lon, even though he's a wonderful man, she would still have to pose as his trophy wife. She would still have to fulfill a lot of her duties as a wife. There were expectations there for her that she would have to live up to. And I think Allie wanted to be as far from all of that as possible. Why? Not really sure, but the love that she had with Noah had no expectations, no restrictions, nothing. She could just simply exist. And I think that is just ultimately what she wanted, to simply exist and be in love with a man and not have to actually, hold up to any expectations that society is putting on her because she is this man's wife. Those are all my thoughts on why Allie should have ended up with Lon and who the better man was out of the two. But I'd be very curious to hear your guys' thoughts. So make sure to leave a comment down below, and if you have not subscribed already, what is you doing, bro? Get to it, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.